We are live, I think.
We are live. I see the counter.
So let's see if anybody is here already. This is our first time doing this, so we just want to make sure that everything is working the way it's supposed to. Can anyone who's here drop something in the chat? Okay, hold on. Oops, it just popped up on my YouTube. Okay, I see it. Oh my goodness.
Yes,
So if anybody's here, can you go ahead and let us know? Drop a comment in the chat. We're using this tool called StreamYard, and can you see me? Okay. Mahler, are we showing up yet? Or is anyone here seeing us? Is this working? Let's see. Bear with us as we do this for our first time. Hello, hello. Let's see. All right, I saw my hello. Dr. Sabine, maybe you try dropping something in the chat. Okay. Oh, we got Geets Boogie Down Bob here. I know who that is.
See you guys. Hello. I want to go boogie.
Yay, fantastic. Awesome. Welcome. Okay, that's perfect. It's popping up in our main chat here. Thank you all. When I started this week, Sabine, had you told me I was going to end the week doing a YouTube live with one of my sort of lifelong dearest friends, talking about this wisdom of Tipa, I would have been like, what you talking about, Willis?
I know.
But here we are. Okay, my mom says it's working. Mom is here. Yes. All right. Well, I want to go ahead and say welcome to our very first Tipa Talk. Pew, 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 pew. My name is Natalie Domond, and the founder of the company Tipa Revolution. And we have recently released a podcast that has been on my heart for years. And I have finally been, my multiple Tipas or small steps have led up to this moment. And I am continuing to be in the practice of following the next aligned step on this journey. And it has led me to riding the energy of the week after chatting with my dear friend Sabine last Friday. And I said, what do you think about doing a live today? So thank you, Dr. Sabine Elisée. Want to pass it to you, get your voice in the room. Who are you? How do we know each other?
So this is just such a beautiful thing. I'm Dr. Sabine Elisée. I'm a board-certified family medicine physician. I'm the CEO and founder of Cornerstone Medical Group in Coral Springs, Florida. But aside from all that, so who am I really? I'm Natalie's friend. I'm just a woman, probably just like everyone else in the world, trying to figure it out. And Natalie and I have been friends for years. And while in undergrad, go Gators, at the Black Culture, IBC, we both had work study positions there, and we would just have these rich conversations. And naturally so, after being part of what a beautiful event that was last week with that soft launch and watching that first episode, I called my friend immediately and just started speaking to about all the great things that I pulled out from it, from just listening to things I didn't even know, in all honesty, that I wasn't even aware of. So that led to this, and this is exciting to be here with you, to share this space, to slow down, to remember these TPAs, these steps by steps that we take to do these great, amazing thing that's going to impact the world. So I'm so excited to be here, friends.
Thank you. Me too. Take me back to the IBC days. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that your parents, your father and your mother, married my husband and I 20 years ago. It'll be 20 years next February. Woo, woo. So you all have been such a blessing in my life. And I love that you lead out with above all, we are friends. And you are such a gift in my life. I'm so grateful for you. And such a gift that we also get to share this beautiful Haitian heritage.
Yes.
That we both have. So thank you for being part of this, what may be the first of many. We'll see how today goes. But this Tipa Talk, and I guess before we dig into it, there's just one thing that really felt important to name that was on my heart. And so last week, Sabine mentioned last Friday, part of me getting ready to share this work with the world was to invite my community, who has offered me love and support, and for them to be the first people to see the episode and to work through the discomfort of that. And it was beautiful. It was joyous. It surpassed every expectation I could have had. And one person that wasn't present that we got to call in during that celebration was the spirit of my father. And so it just feels really appropriate to call him in as well. He transitioned 8 years ago. He's now looking down from heaven. And you two had a very special relationship as well. So just wanted to give a moment for you to acknowledge that.
Yeah, so which again takes us back to IVC, University of Florida days, where I meet Natalie, and to know Natalie is to absolutely fall in love with her immediately, right? So then we're just talking, and we're probably, I don't know how many months into our friendship, and it just so happens that somehow her father's name comes up, Dr. Domont. I don't even remember that, who was a mentor for me every time I would come back down to South Florida. And I mean that he would mentor in such an intentional, loving, like the way a father mentors. And I say that because the rigors of going into medical school, the rigors of being pre-med, it is nonstop. You feel like you feel like you're going to die sometimes, guys. And like this mental capacity that you have and the strength that you have to have and all these demands. And he would so gently and carefully just say, you're going to be okay. Make sure you rest. Make sure you're exercising every time you are getting ready for exams. So that's how we ended up finding out randomly that we were just connected in a way that we didn't even know, because all this time her dad has been mentoring me, taking me to these meetings that we would have and making sure, and I would say, I want to stay longer. He's like, no, you need to go home and study. So just a beautiful thing. So it's just, again, so many dynamics to our friendship, so many dynamics to just being here right now. And I was sharing with Natalie that I was actually nervous coming in today. And she's like, why? And I was like, when you are passionate about something so much, you just don't want to mess it up. You don't want to say the wrong thing. You don't want to do the wrong thing. So knowing how extraordinary this Tipa revolution, this gift to the world that it's going to be, I did come in with a little bit of that weight that I had to brush off and say, nope, I'm just going to do what I always do. I'm just going to sit and speak with my friend about this first episode that was absolutely amazing.
Thank you, Sabine. Thank you so much. And so calling on the spirit of my father, who I know is rejoicing in this moment that we're sharing together, yes, and that we get to talk about the wisdom that emerged from the wisdom and strength and fortitude of our people.
Yes.
And so with that, maybe we transition into talking a little about the first episode.
Yes.
So this first episode is called Step by Step, the Wisdom That Sparked the Tipa Revolution. We're going to assume that folks have either listened to it. If you haven't, go check it out. But essentially is the origin story of where I first experienced this wisdom of Tipa in such a profound and life-altering way. And so planting these seeds of what it means and how I interpreted it through the story of a colleague of mine and how he responded to the incredible tragedy and overwhelm of that we faced in the wake of this horrific natural disaster.
Yeah.
So Sabine, would love to hear. So what resonated or stood out to you when listening to this story and this first episode? And feel free, you can talk about the content, but I think also something that what's important for me to experience is that like there was so much intentionality and care that was put into the structure of these episodes, right? So I intentionally drop into a story that really brings you into the moment. Then I share my insights and reflections, and then I invite the listener into their own reflection. So feel free to talk both on the experience as well as the content, but whatever really is still like resonating with you a week later.
That's pulsating. So Natalie, I think one of the first things is that the way in which you just go into this story and just pulls us in and just really just keeps us hungry for more. That is one aspect of it, but I think the greater aspect of it is just this educational piece that's there. You know, I think we often say as Haitian people, we are resilient. But I learned that in many cultures, in all cultures, I think it is just this quality and characteristics of the human spirit. Because in so many different languages, step by step, tipa, tipa, is it's that same echoing. So that is the one portion for me that made me realize more than anything else that there's this capacity deep within us to keep going and a desire to keep going with something that is just bigger than us and then greater than us. That resonated with me in such a way that it almost helps you pull from Paul's strength. It helps you pull from your strength that you have. And I think that that's sometimes that we forget oftentimes in just seeing people every day. We have no idea all the little steps that they took to get to where they are right now. And I never heard this quote before, but this quote from Katherine MacKenett,
Yeah.
this quote from Katherine MacKenett, and I made sure that I remembered it, where she says, now every time I witness a strong person, I want to know what dark did they conquer in what dark did you conquer in your story? Mountains do not rise without earthquakes.
Hmm.
I want to intentionally
Hmm.
stop and pause to take that in. That last part, especially. Mountains do not rise without earthquakes. So, just this week, as a physician, earthquakes that I felt, carrying space for patients, I remembered this. I remember that there's a mountain that's going to rise. As a parent of an elementary schooler, a middle schooler, and a high schooler, all at the same time, seeing their earthquakes as they're going from young man to boyhood to manhood and all of their puberty changes and what I call the real hood, parenthood that we're in, it's reminded seeing their earthquakes, seeing their shaking. Um, there's a mountain that's going to rise from that. And if I didn't have this blessed opportunity to hear and listen to this week's episode of just the step by steps of Teapot, I don't think I would have remembered that. I think going through this week with the many hats that I carry as a wife, a mom, a physician, a daughter, a sister, and I know that many people carry all those hats too, a business owner, all of those hats, life can shake you. And I think that's for many people. There is so much shaking that's occurring. So, one, we know that the mountains will rise, but there's often a question of how do we get through it? And it's what I remembered from listening. Tipa, tipa, madam. That's how we get through it. And I think that there was a need even this week as we know that we're going through and we're taking these steps, tipa, tipa, to reach these great, extraordinary things, these callings that we have, this demand that we have in our life. And we spoke about virtue coming at us, like working
Hmm.
like the manufacturer intended you to work. Like when we're going and doing all those things, that's wonderful. We get there, tipa, tipa. But I was also reminded this week that in every small step, we have to stop and celebrate. We have to stop and like stopping to celebrate this launch, stopping to celebrate this first live, stopping to celebrate. And again, the within that first episode, that intentionality of slow down, stop, reflect. Going through those questions to stop and reflect was also another piece for me that I realized like we don't do that enough. And it's one of the things that we have to do more and more of.
Mm. Thank you so much for sharing that. All these things that resonated with you. That quote still gives me chills. And you're right in that, if we truly believe that mountains can rise from the earthquakes of our lives, Tipa is an invitation for hope
Yeah.
and more like grace
Yes.
and love and ease on that
Mm.
journey.
Yeah.
Because I know that quote really shook me when it was shared with me, because I realized that my journey was feeling very heavy because I was carrying a lot of shame around decisions I had made in the past and stories that I told myself about what it meant about me. And I think so much the power of Tipa is about like reclaiming the wisdom of the present moment. And so when I was able to reframe that I was going to claim these dark moments as well, I think, what did I say in the episode? Like that we take the wisdom from those experiences, we harness them, and then we allow it to strengthen and fortify us, tipa tipa, as we emerge as these mountains from the hard and dark moments of our lives. So I feel like someone shared with me this past week that for me, this message of Tipa is about, it was actually my aunt in Canada. She's like, it feels like a message of hope. And I think no matter how hard things are, that we have the ability to like reclaim the power that we have to discern our next aligned intentional step that is towards that which we want for ourselves. I think of Paul and his story, and it was towards like his clients and them being that first person to check on them after the earthquake so that they knew that they weren't alone, and then brought them hope. And I find that every time we take our powerful tipas, like it's for ourselves, but it also ripples throughout our entire communities. And so when I see all the people I love taking their gentle, loving, small steps, it's also, I feel like I'm like amongst these mountains that are just rising all around me, and that is also, when we zoom out, I talked about Haiti being, how fitting that this wisdom would crystallize for me in this way from this place, because Haiti in itself means mountainous land, right? And so it's such an amazing thing to know that like from all our hardships and all of our trials, we have emerged as a strong people, but that truth that's a universal truth. So
and I think that it's beyond just as a people, but now even squaring it down to each individual. And that's that reminder, like with Paul and what he did as an individual. It reminds me of when we go skip rocks in the lake, right? We have this small little pebble that we throw, but you see this ripple go all the way through into the other side of the shoreline. And we think that it's just this rock and that's it. But that's honestly what we do day in and day out when we decide to courageously take that small step, take that tipa. And then again, going back to this quote that those mountains that arise, it's almost as if you don't have to push off the pain or push off the uncertainty or the circumstance. There's a natural tendency, I think, that we all have, that we are adverse to pain. I know I say that, and I say that as a prayer many times to the Lord. Lord, I'm adverse to pain, please. But we can welcome that because we know at the end, there will just be this mountain. And what you described in that episode was just this beautiful mountain that has arrived, that birthed this whole teapot revolution. And that's just amazing. So it doesn't just happen for you or for what happened in the story, but each of us when we embrace it the right way.
Oh, so beautiful. So beautiful. I can talk about mountains all day and their significance because I see us both as rising as mountains, but also oftentimes, I mean, the trials or the transitions or the hardships feel like mountains that we're climbing. And I mean, I think you said this yesterday in your live, how do you eat an elephant? Bite, bite, bite. Like, the only way out, the only way through really is tipa, tipa. And I find that I guess to like preview the rest of the season is actually, it's all solo episodes, because I'm taking you through an intentional like story arc of, after learning this wisdom many years later, having my own sort of metaphorical earthquake in my own life, where I felt like the foundation that I had laid was completely cracked and moving beneath my feet. And that shook me. And then I didn't know what to do next. And that's where the wisdom of Tipa started to really emerge and helped guide me through what I call sort of the most profound revolution of my life. And really this journey of ultimately coming back home to myself as the sort of like author, an instrument that I'm meant to be, and And I'm still in the practice of that, but really shedding myself of everything that I had taken on that wasn't mine, the expectations, the systemic stuff, like you name it. And so next week we'll be dropping episodes 2 and 3. So we'll be shifting a little bit away from, the origin story of, this earthquake and into its application in my life as a mid-career woman, new mother who was trying to like do all the things and was awakening to this moment of feeling massively unfulfilled, which I call my not my dream moment. So I'll continue. And then the third episode, I talk about, even though I knew that I wanted to, that this wasn't for me, this wasn't my dream, there was actually an incredible amount of resistance to actually breaking away from that path that was no longer serving me. And, these stories I'm telling because they've actually been stories that I have been telling for years as people have come to me trying to understand my journey. And I was like, why don't I capture this and really take you into my experience? Because if just one person feels, like their experience feels a little bit less, that feels a little bit more normal, less alone, because I have peeled back the veil and said, this is what I was working through. So it took me a long time to actually find the courage and move through the fear and feel safe enough to take my next step. So these things are real. So my hope is that through the whole season that people, through me sharing my story and holding it with love and reverence, that invites you to do the same so that we can all travel with a little bit more grace and self-love and hope, and realize that the small steps are the big ones. Like when it is aligned with that which you want to be saying yes to, or centering what is most important to you, your values, like being home to put your kid to bed at night and kiss them on the cheek, like that gets to be it's a small step, but it's a huge one. And it's these small steps that all add up to you having the most aligned expression of your life that you want for yourself. So I'm excited to take people through the rest of the season. Next week, we'll drop actually 2 episodes. It's sort of like a 2-part series, but not my dream moment and overcoming the resistance and venturing into the unknown. So I'm excited to continue the journey with folks. And so for you, Sabine, as we are wrapping up, thinking about this week, how might you see yourself carrying this wisdom of Tipa with you into the next week and beyond?
Yeah, I think that there's something that's so key in what you said that I'm reminded of right now. I think oftentimes we look at our lives of trying to become something. And I love how you just made mention of just all these things that you kind of just added on to your life. So as I go, not just into this week, but even as I am very presently thinking, Tipa, is I'm not becoming something. It's stripping away everything that was never mine to do. Like just the real me emerging before I wasn't listening to my voice as much, right? Emerging from listening to others and their opinions and their thoughts, or society's norms, or what they say you have to look like, or what's beautiful, or how to be a mom, how to be a physician, how to show up. Stripping all of that away is this reality of centering, being present, and listening to your heart that is leading you towards the little steps. And I love that because it's not this big picture that's always in front of you, right? We would have never known as we sat in IBC years ago that we would be in this moment right now. But what did it? We just followed these little steps in our journey that were just so, and sometimes you can't make sense of it. It's just this something in here that says, do that next, move there next. So I have to say that for myself, that I am going to make sure I'm listening and making sure my voice is louder than the chaos of the world. And I like to say, like, I think it's the whispers of God who's created you and who's known you and who knows exactly what you're made for. Like, we have to make sure we quiet, we stop, we listen to those whispers before we hear the shouts of the world that are coming to us, so that we can make sure we're in this motion that we should be in. And that's where that virtue comes out. That's when we're working in the way our manufacturer intended us for us to work, each and every individual. So thank you for that reminder. I'm so grateful for Tipa Revolution. I cannot wait to hear the rest of these episodes, because I think even for this first one, I literally was like trying to work, and I was just like, all right, let me just shut this down. This is not happening. Like, I didn't even know that happened. And then just some of those moments where I even found myself stopping and re-listening to it and then hitting pause and then just kind of sitting and thinking and being reminded of we're in such a hurry, busy move that we do lose sight, and it becomes chaotic of what's truly within and what our next move should be. It does come from within, not from anyone else.
Amen. Amen. And that's what I hope in the design of the experience. My hope is that it's even just this little pocket of a place that you can like tune into and create the space to quiet all that, turn down the volume on all those things that are not from you and for you, and to tune in, turn it up. And you're right, that coming home to yourself is really a deep attunement to like a straight line between you and, for me, the divine, right? And but like when you're so dialed into that sense of like what is right and true for you in this moment. And we all feel it. You can feel it when you're taking the step that it's like, I don't know where I'll go 15 steps from here, but this feels like the right step.
The right one.
And for me, I have been someone who has really grappled my whole life with chronic like anxiety. And I'm really familiar with the pattern of like going into a state of overwhelm.
Yes.
So this is why I'm like, all roads lead back to Tipa.
Yes.
Just breathe. Quiet that noise. What does it look like to really tune into that next right step for me? So I am wishing you a beautiful week as you continue to be in this your unique path of service and love as the mother and physician and wife and daughter and sister and friend that you are. May we continue venturing on together with all of the love and grace that has been intended for us to experience on this journey. Yes. Thank you for being part of this first Tipa Talk.
I'm excited! Oh, I'm so honored to be here, and especially for this first inaugural one, right? So I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you, and I honestly just want to say, friends, I told you guys she's amazing. You're gonna see. Watch. You're gonna see. I've been saying this all along. You'll see. Keep tuning in. You'll see.
Well, with that, acknowledging we went a little bit longer than 15 minutes, I suspected that might happen. So I will be tuning in afterwards to see how it feels to continue this. If you're watching and you have not yet checked out the podcast, please subscribe to our channel. We'll be dropping the episodes here on Tipa Tuesdays, coming out every Tuesday. We're also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And if I created this to be something that sparks reflection and connection and community. So if any of what you hear speaks to you, I would love to hear it. If you would love to join me on a future Tipa Talk, if I decide to do it, please let me know. This journey is so much more rewarding, delightful, joyful when we do it in community. So thank you all for joining. Sabine, I love you.
Love you.
Thank you for being in my life.
Oh, I'm so thankful for you.
And I will end the stream now.
See you later.
Bye, y'all. Thanks for joining.